What is going on, everybody? Riley Welch, owner of 92 Social. Today I am joined with Zach from Kvas Beverage Co. in Niagara. A great story. He works at Wayne Gretzky's, but he has a small business with his wife with all the simple syrups. A very easy process for you to enjoy a quality drink. So let's go. What's going on, everybody? Riley Welch, owner of 92 Social. Welcome to the 92 Social podcast. I got another great guest on tap today. He's associated with Gretzky's, but let me first and foremost, I'm a sucker for branding and labeling, and look at this bad boy.
My God,
it is a beautiful thing.
Label.
Oh, baby. I'm joined with Zach Kvas from Kvas Fine Beverage Co. That took me way too long.
That was good. No, that was solid.
I was in broadcasting school for 2 years, and I can. When it comes to names, I am no bueno.
It's fantastic. It was perfect.
Awesome. So how are you doing today, buddy?
Doing excellent, man. I'm here in my home bar. Patios will be open tomorrow, but since then we call this bar the Goondocks. This is my wife and I, our little at-home bar. So we've been making some cocktails here, living the dream, but life is good, man.
Ooh, baby.
How about you? Everything kosher?
Yeah, everything's kosher on my end. But yeah, so one of the things where I got introduced to you is my dad, who always goes to Gretzky's.
A legend. I love your dad.
Yeah, he's
been one of our first supporters from day one.
Perfect. Yeah, I told him that I'm interviewing you today, and all he gave me is thumbs up because that's how he communicates. So what you sent me, thank you for this. I really do appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Northern Maple Old Fashioned. And I count myself as a little classy guy when it comes to whiskey, and having an old fashioned is always a great choice. And you know what? First things first. Should we make the drink? Then let's get into the combo.
Let's make it, because this is a good proof of concept. The proof's in the potion with this one, because typically old fashions, they date back to as early 1900s, and they always have been known for taking a little bit of time to make, with muddling the sugar cube and orange, stirring, adding bitters, and we cut that down to just 2 easy steps for when you're on vacation or you come home and you don't want to bust out all the tools to do it. So let's make it, then we can sip on it while we chat here.
I love it. All right, so what's the first step?
Now, step 1, you can either use a mixing glass or you can just use a rocks glass for this, whatever you want to do.
Cool.
I'm just using a little rocks glass just to show how easy it is.
Awesome.
And all we're going to do to start is get a big ice cube.
Ooh. All right.
Or a few little cubes if you've got a few. Either or. And you're just going to put those in your glass. The glass is acting as our mixing glass. We're going to build it right in the glass for this one.
Beautiful. Got it.
Okay. Now we're going to give that bottle a little shake. We always recommend giving them a little shake before, because they're all natural. So there's, raw hickory wood, vanilla bean, cloves, cinnamon, all raw natural ingredients in here, and real maple syrup. So we like to just give it a shake to wake it up a bit.
That's a good tip. That's a very good tip. Because I would have been like,
settled out, right? Yeah, I don't want to glug it over.
No. Perfect.
And then, Riley, do you have a jigger there?
No, but I'll give it a. Used to be a server, so I'll kind of give it the eye a little bit.
Yes, we'll eye it together. I'll eye it with you. So,
all right.
1/4 ounce. We're gonna do 3/4 of an ounce of our Northern Maple Old Fashioned. So that's just almost a 1 count. Just a little splash.
Okay.
And then all you're gonna do, look at your glass, kind of hold it up, see where the syrup is, and you're gonna go twice the amount of whiskey.
Oh, okay. All right.
So we're going a 2-to-1 ratio. So technically we're doing 3/4 of an ounce to 1.5 ounces of whiskey.
Okay.
So I'm going to pour mine in there, and you can use bourbon or rye. A good Canadian rye like Gretzky's is the best. We love using that, especially the red cask. Beautiful choice.
Beautiful. Yep.
So you can go ahead and add that in.
Okay. I think I did her. Did it right.
Got her going there. Yeah, looks good. Looks really good. And then if you have a spoon, you can stir it. Just keep the back of the spoon to the glass. And if you don't, you can just swirl it around. But you always, if you try to keep the curved end of that spoon to the back of the glass,
Yeah.
you'll move the ice in kind of a whirlpool effect, get a better chill.
Okay.
And I always hold the glass at the top, and that way you're not warming it up with your hands. It just kind of keeps it nice and cool.
Yeah. There you go.
Beautiful. And now garnish is nice and easy on this one. We're just going to do an orange zest. Nothing wild. See if you can shave off just a little bit of that orange zest. I like a bit of a thicker cut on that zest. You can do it however you like it. How's it smelling? Good?
Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. This is good.
Beautiful, eh?
Oh, yeah. I'm loving it. I'm a sucker for a good old fashioned.
Me too, man. Who isn't? It's one of the king of cocktails.
All right.
Once you get that zest, just give it a little twist. You're gonna make a little kind of a tie with your hands like that.
Got it.
And the trick is you want to pull it.
Yeah.
And rub it around the rim of the glass.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's interesting.
That nice orange citrus oil right on top, and then you can drop that zest in.
Ooh, baby.
That's so when you bring that drink to your nose, you're not getting any of the whiskey. You're getting all that nice, beautiful orange.
That is key.
Key. It is key. You can flame it if you want a bit more, but let's cheers.
Yeah. Cheers, my friend.
Have a sip.
Oh, baby. Oh, ooh, the maple.
It's nice, eh?
I'm getting them. Oh, God. Yeah, I'm getting the maple right now. And it's just it's the right amount of everything.
Thank you. Yeah. It took a long time for us to come up with that one.
Yeah, because like nothing's overpowering. Because I've definitely had drinks where it's whiskey forward or bitters forward, and it's like it's good, but this is a nice hint of maple. This is going to be dangerous.
Man,
I'm definitely dangerous.
Glad you said that, because it's that's the key with cocktails is you always want to keep things in balance, but geared toward a specific flavor. So, getting that vanilla bean and maple and clove to all play together with the whiskey, it was very tricky, and we actually added into our boil for the syrup. We added in big chunks of hickory wood to accommodate for bitterness. So you don't have to add any bitterness.
Oh my God.
And it gives a nice grainy woody taste too. So great gift for dad. That's a good one.
Oh, that's a great gift.
Mm-hmm.
I'll talk to you about this after. But in the meantime, tell us about the business, man. How did this all start?
Absolutely. It started, my wife, Amy, who's the other half of this business, the better half, I should say. She and I both came from a winemaking background. Okay. And Amy she switched gears, worked at a distillery, Dillon's, that was opening in Beamsville. And then she ended up getting into, she manages a brewery. And then I switched from winemaking into managing and, being a mixologist and now managing a cocktail bar, running the one at Gretzky's. And we had kind of touched every facet of the alcohol industry. And we found there was a bit of a hole. It was that people were coming in and enjoying cocktails, and we loved enjoying cocktails, but they were very difficult to make at home. Either very difficult or very expensive. Because you have to buy everything. Alcohol can get very pricey. So there was a big demand. People were coming in and to the bar asking to take syrups home in Tim Hortons cups and mason jars. And we said, let's make our own line of syrups. Let's put them in the bottle and put all the flavor in the syrup. So the flavors you'd get from liqueurs and other spirits, let's put those in the syrup. So all you need is one bottle of alcohol and a syrup, maybe some citrus here and there, and you can make, 10, 20, 30 different cocktails with the syrup. I mean, hundreds based on how creative you are. So that's what gave genesis to the company. And we started with our ginger wildflower syrup, and we moved on and we sold out of that in, I think, in 2 days and just kept trucking.
See, that's an entrepreneurial mindset right there. It's
Thanks.
it's funny because all entrepreneurs can think they can have that connection where they see an opportunity and they just go for it. And
That's
as you
right.
were explaining how this all came together, I was like, Jesus, like this is what a small business entrepreneurship is all about, is seeing the opportunity and pursuing it, because clearly it's in a need. There's people that need it. Like, people taking syrups home from like in a Tim Hortons cup, which is crazy. And a
Crazy.
lot of people were like, oh yeah, it's one of the funny stories. But people like us were like, we can make this into a business. And
Exactly.
it's fantastic. So with
You
the
know, it's solving a problem. So it was, and it was something we were really passionate about. So we are lucky that way. But
So were you guys always passionate about the wine business, or the in the like were you born and raised in the Niagara region?
yeah. Actually, both Amy and I were kind of born into the industry. Her her family were grape growers. So they had a farm in Niagara on the lake, and they grew for Trius, and um, at the time it was Hillebrand, and a couple other of local wineries. And then my mom was always in the wine business. She was one of the opening managers at Peller. She kind of taught me everything I know. And then her family back in the day started Henry of Pelham. So we've been, that's her cousins, the Speck boys, started that, and both of our families have been in Niagara. Amy, I think, for 3 generations on her mom's side, and then on my mom's side, we've been here, I think, for 230, 240 years.
Oh
Um,
my God.
so it's crazy. And then, my dad came from immigrant family who came over from Yugoslavia. And then Amy's father, German background, Mennonite farming. So it was kind of the perfect storm. And then for making this business, and our last name literally translates to yeast, which is the main component to making alcohol. So
Okay. Yeah. So I was on your website, which we linked down below,
yeah,
and I saw that quote. And I'm like, no way. There's no
yeah.
way this is the thing.
Isn't that crazy?
That's
And as a
amazing.
kid, I hated it because like everyone had these cool last names that meant like warrior, or like you'd look it up on Google, and mine would say yeast or like sour beverage, and I was like, well, I'm the bread guy. Like this isn't that interesting.
The bread
Uh,
man. Yeah.
and now it's very appropriate. So it was lucky.
Hey man, like Panarin from the Rangers is the bread man, so you kind of have that connection
This is
there.
true. This is true.
There you go. Well,
One
hey,
bread
hey,
name to another.
hey, man. My last name is Welch, so people go, "Oh, Welch's grape juice," and that's why my Instagram is called Grapesy.
Which I love. That's fantastic.
Put two and two together. How about that?
I love it.
Yeah. So with as we're tasting the maple, how do you make a syrup? Like, let's
Yeah.
take us through the process of start to finish, because especially after, because I did taste your first batch of the ginger, right?
Yes. Yeah,
And
that's right.
and then that was one of the things where no, my like, my dad, he gave it to me, and then I was kind of floored, because I was floored because the things that were going through my mind was, it's fresh. It is like, you can tell
Right.
a lot of
There's a
the
kind of a
ingredients.
whole complexity to it.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
with the old fashions, take us through the process.
Yeah. That all started. We wanted to make an old fashioned syrup. That was one of, when we started the company, that was always going to be a goal, but we wanted to make one. It's such an important pinnacle in the cocktail world, and we didn't want to do it any harm. We wanted to make sure we honored this drink right, and especially people, our customers are our number one priority, and we want them to be the best old fashioned they've ever had. Um, so it all starts with that, and what flavor do people enjoy most, and what makes a good old fashioned. So we started off taking whiskey.
Mhm.
We taste all these different whiskeys, which was really hard work. And you taste them, and you say, okay, is this bourbon or rye? If it's sweet, what's it sweet like? Is it sweet like brown sugar? Is it sweet like white sugar? And if it's sweet like brown sugar, is it burnt brown sugar? Is it brown sugar in a a bananas Foster. Is it brown sugar like molasses? And keep taking those flavors and breaking them down, and then pairing them with different things. So what pairs with brown sugar in a bananas Foster? Well, cinnamon, clove, vanilla bean, and you start building these flavors. And once we had our base flavor of what the syrup was going to taste like, and maple being the main base, because we wanted to remain using Ontario products and something very Canadian.
I love that. Love
super
it.
important to us. So all the maple syrups from Kitchener, which is great.
Beautiful.
KW area. But then we needed bitterness, because old fashioned usually calls for bitters, and we thought about people could just add the bitters, but then we thought, let's just put it in for them, and how are we going to do this? And we found boiling the vanilla bean, the husks of the bean, along with boiling in chunks of hickory wood, steeping them, gave a bitterness to the syrup, where you didn't need to add any bitters to it. So it just became a two-step old fashioned. And that was kind of the flavor roller coaster that brought us to the old fashioned syrup, coming up with the flavors that pair with the whiskey. And then how is this going to function in a cocktail? How are we going to make this work for people where they can make it really easily? And that was the story behind that one.
See, there's so much behind, a syrup or a drink. There's like if we put too much of this, how does this taste will be affected? And it's just finding the perfect formula.
It is, and it's tricky. And my wife's the biggest critic, and I usually are making the syrups and Amy's tasting, and she's hard to get by, and God bless her for it. But it's very difficult, especially when you really care about what you're doing. It's our integrity's in every bottle, so we got to make sure that it's perfect for them.
Exactly, and that's another thing where you're extremely hard on yourself for a reason.
For sure.
You said it, because every bottle, it's kind of like a hockey quote. You're only as good as your last shift, or you're only as good as your last bottle.
It's exactly right? 150%
all day. Yeah, and that's something that it goes through like each bottle. And like for me, marketing side, I'm like I just look at I keep saying the logo, but the logo is just, I always love a simple logo that just has the service and it has a nice design. Like, it's perfect. Again, I just love how it just looks really, really cool. And
thank you.
You also sent me like this one.
Yeah,
dude. It's just crisp, in my opinion.
We wanted the picture to kind of speak 1,000 words. And what's the base of a syrup is sugar over water. So just having that little sugar cube with the water was kind of the base of it all. So it's kind of neat. And then it's we wanted it to be, when we were doing our brand building with our graphic designer, Tortuga, she's really great. She was saying, if your brand was a person, who would it be? What would it wear? And Amy and I really like going up north and cottaging, and she likes camping. I hate to say I'm not a camper. I don't like the toilet situation in campgrounds.
Yeah, we're the same.
Yeah.
Give me a cottage every single day. Don't care.
I don't want to deal with porta potties.
I'm okay. I had my fair share. And
not my game.
I'll pass.
So we wanted to make it look almost like a badge you would wear like on a hat, or like camping gear. So we went with that kind of retro.
Dude, I would definitely rock a toque or a hat with this logo on it.
Thanks.
Yeah, man. So as a small business owner, what challenges or what are your key motivators? Because as we all know, as a business owner, either that this is like a part-time, or you're trying to make this into your full-time. There's days where you're exhausted, or you're just like nothing's going your way, because it's definitely it's at least every few days something goes wrong. And so what are those key motivators that keeps you going? Like, for example, for me, I watch like a Ryan Serhant guy. He's real estate, but he has that entrepreneurial side to him. So I kind of look at the
And what's his name, Riley?
Ryan Serhan.
Cool.
Yeah, so he's in real estate, but I just look at I look at the role models and see how, like, where they are in life, two,
Yep.
how do they get there, and three, what are they, what is their personality, what's their mantra. So those are the things I kind of
I
go
like that.
for when I need a little kick. So what about
I like
yourself?
that a lot. Yeah, for us, mine was really, I guess people for sure, but it was more environment. And we had our son, and I really
Congrats.
wanted to thank you very much. Thank you. Especially during this COVID outbreak, being home, I've realized how much I like working with my family. There's a lot of people that say, never get into business with your spouse or your family. Always keep that separate. But Amy and I were lucky. We work really well together. And my son, he's enamored by bartending and cooking, and he's not even one, and it's pretty great.
Perfect.
But looking at you know watching businesses that have succeeded and products that have really made a name for themselves um, have really motivated us to keep going all the time. But a lot of it's, to be honest, our local agriculture and farms and gardens. Like one of our goals, our main goal, at least mine, is to have a maple syrup farm.
Oh,
Um, that we'll have a syrup shack there, and we'll have all of our simple syrups available, but actually make the sugar that makes the syrup. And that's always in my head. I'm always like, hey, how do I get there? How do I get the 10, 30-acre piece of land and get the maple trees and build something where, because I'm always looking to the next, I always want to go a step farther. If we make the syrup and we get the ingredients and we can grow the basil, we can grow the lavender, we can do all this, but now I want to grow the sugar, literally. So
yeah.
it's a real farm to table motivation, and the locality of Niagara is a big motivator for that. And then family time. I know my wife would say the same thing, that being able to run a business together as a family and be another emblem for Niagara for people to come here and experience what we do would be awesome. To be another flagship like Gretzky's, which is an incredible place that brings people to our region. We'd love to do that too.
Yeah. See, oh man, I can relate to you on so many levels with that answer. It's
Thanks.
just, how do you get to your goal,
Yeah,
and what ways can you do it? And there's no better time than now.
exactly.
And
Exactly.
it might take like 5 years, it might take 10 years, but as long as you're doing it,
That's the crazy thing, eh? You don't know,
you don't
and,
know.
and you have to. Being a good entrepreneur is making. I always say it's making great decisions really quickly.
Hmm.
Um, it's good things come to those who wait, but great things kind of happen all at once. So you have to be ready.
Oh man, it's you said it, because there.
Yeah.
I'm telling my buddies who are thinking about starting their own thing, where I make sure I say to them, do the groundwork. You have to do the
Yeah.
groundwork, or else nothing will happen. And that's where
100%.
the motivators come in. Where
100%.
when you're doing the groundwork and getting nothing in return, it's going to happen. And
Yeah.
once it happens, it's going, like, everything's going to happen. So it's all
And
about,
if you got your groundwork, then you're ready to go. That's the, you know,
yeah, that's
that
exactly how it is. And like, again, I like 92 Socials a year and a half old, and I'm already thinking about potential other businesses I want to start up, and how can I take 92 Social in the next level. And the same thing with you as well. Um,
right.
and another thing you mentioned, where you're focusing on Ontario ingredients, uh,
Yeah.
everything being from Ontario or from Canada. How do you find let's say, how do you find the maple syrup? Do you like go
You know
through a
what? There's
friend, or?
a lot of great markets. I mean, pre-COVID, there were a lot of great markets you could go to. Hopefully that starts up again eventually. Especially places like Balls Falls,
Mhm.
where there's all these vendors that come from all over Ontario to come and be part of this festival. And that's a great place to find local products. and to try things because they do sampling. So that's, where we tried some of the maple syrup we were thinking about using. And then the other thing is keeping your ears to the ground and talking to people. Chefs have been a big influence, talking to local chefs and saying, oh, I had no idea this grew here. Who's growing it and how are they doing it? And where do I get my hands on this? So that's a huge motivator as well. Like the cherries, for example.
Yeah.
People always ask us if we have the whiskey cherries or the cherry hibiscus syrup in stock, and it's sold out pretty quick. The whiskey cherries sold out in a week.
Oh,
it was nuts. And we did 400 pounds, which we thought was a lot. And that all started because Gretzky's and Trias are situated right beside a farm. And I would always go to the farm to buy stuff for the bar. Any kind of fruit that came in on the farm, I'd put it in a cocktail. And I got to know the farmers, and I said, oh, you guys have the best cherries I've ever had. I'm thinking about doing some whiskey cherries. And then you get to know the farmers. So we did whiskey cherries, and then they say, oh, like, I've got a farmer friend who really wants to get rid of some peaches. He's having a tough time. Why don't you talk to him? And then they say, oh, my friend's got a maple farm and he's struggling to find, and it's a crazy network. Once you get in, it's incestuous. It's just
about getting in. It's about just finding that one person.
So many Ontario products. It's just you have to be willing. Number one, you have to be willing to pay more. Because quality costs more, and that's a bottom line. And you have to decide what kind of business you are. If you're going to pay more and charge more, or if you're going to pay less and charge less.
Yeah.
They've said, I'm sure with marketing, they've been talking, the middle's kind of out. It's either premium or cheap.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to decide where you are. And we decided early on we wanted to be the most premium.
Mm-hmm.
And our syrups, we don't pretend that they're cheap. They're not inexpensive. They're not super expensive, but they're priced, for what we do. Where you get what you pay for, I guess.
Yeah, and it comes down to because your mindset, you want the premium quality, premium products and it's locally grown. And
that's
then
right.
Once people sip it or taste it for the first time, they would understand, and then that will be your recurring customer. Because there's a lot of times where in different industries, people are like, oh, this is the best thing, it's high quality, and then you do it and they're like, oh. And it's sad when people say, I can do it better, which is not what you want to do.
That means you failed, right?
That's not your business. Like, what are you doing?
No, and that was honestly part of the motivators of why we started. We were tasting some of these syrups that were expensive or products that were expensive, and we're like, we're not like, we look on the back and it's like words that are this long, chemical ingredients, and we're like, these guys aren't even trying. And we really wanted to, and that's the great thing about our syrups. The bottle of Old Fashioned's $18. They make 16 cocktails, but $18 might be expensive, in it compared to the price of an orange. But compared to a bottle of cologne or
so you kind of
olive oil. Like olive oil is a great example of a olive oil, and cocktail ingredients are a perfect analogy. That a really good bottle of olive oil you can get for like $20, and a really run-of-the-mill, more bitter cooking olive oil you can get for $6 or $7.
Yeah.
And then the best, the crazy olive oil that is probably too much money is $60. So we've always believed in quality, and we don't overcharge, but we don't undercharge. It's kind of
right in the middle. It's a good pricing.
Yeah,
and that's the thing too. You're finding your pricing, and once you found it, like, it's a home run.
Thank you.
Yeah. So when it comes to starting your business, syrup business, and you I believe you touched on it before, but what is the best advice you have received starting your own business?
The best advice for a business was probably number one, quality above everything.
Mm.
Um, never never sacrifice quality. Um, because that's depending on what industry you're in. But for us, that was very important. Was
Yeah.
we want to be the best tasting simple syrup on the market. Um, so how do we get there? So never sacrificing quality, but then also that practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes permanent. Uh, so
Ooh,
if
write
you
that
practice something, yeah,
one down. Write that bad boy down.
that
Damn.
was that was a big one, because if you're doing something wrong and you're doing it a lot, it doesn't make it the right way to do something.
Yeah.
It's you have to do something right and practice doing it right, and it'll become permanent in your business. So you always want to make sure you're doing things correctly, and that's why so much research goes into each bottle. The whiskey sour syrup, I've never pulled my hair out more. It kept me up at night for weeks trying to find a vegan substitute for egg white that will mix, preserve, and settle out in a syrup. It was ridiculous,
Oh
and
yeah.
the like I said, the amount that went into that, but the finished product is awesome, and I'm happy it's there.
Man, that's awesome. There's a few questions I ask my guests, but this one I always ask the entrepreneurs where what was the first outer body experience, or what was that first moment where you tasted success after maybe
Yeah,
grinding a little too, like grinding so hard, and that one moment where you're like, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing.
it was honestly when we opened. We started off our company. We scribbled our logo on it. We were at a brewery. I think we were at Merritt Brewing in Hamilton, and we scribbled our logo on a piece of paper and decided we were gonna find a kitchen that would pack with us and make our syrup. Um, and I think we had 400 bottles, 350 or 400 bottles of that ginger wildflower syrup, and had no idea what would happen. It was, for us, it was really scary. We had spent, I don't know how much money it cost us to do,
Mhm.
but it was enough for us to be scared as like a new, young couple that's starting a business. And when we sold out after like, I think it was 2 days, 2 or 3 days, we'd sold out completely. And having a bunch of simple syrup lined up in packages and then not having that in a room was really cool. And it was kind of when we started getting people message back being like, oh, the cocktail tasted incredible. um, you know that was the when we tasted success and said, this is what we're chasing. When people are making cocktails at home, we're doing our job. And the funny thing is we started our company thinking we were going to appeal to bartenders, and bartenders are, they're chefs in their own realm, and a lot of times bartenders are going to um, not so much get their backs up, but they're going to want to make their own, and they don't want to make cocktails at home. Most bartenders are drinking beer at home.
Mhm.
So when it's really cool because our market, we have like moms, like a lot of moms making like
Crazy.
no proof cocktails or non-alcoholic cocktails, or when they're pregnant, they're making non-alcoholic cocktails, and when they have the baby, they're sending us the cocktails they've made up. We've got, you know 50, 60, 70-year-old people sending us drinks they've made at the cottage. We've got
Man.
families making cocktails and mocktails together. It's really cool seeing like-minded people come together and say, this is a lot of fun. We did this at a dinner party, or I was making cocktails, my kids were making mocktails. It was a blast. And our market's people just like Amy and I, people who just want to, entertain and have fun and try something new, and we're after that pursuit of flavor. But something we never thought a market we would hit was which I won't get into, but culinary. We had no idea the uses of baking brining and cooking, and the amount of in coffee. The syrups right now are taking off in the kind of in the culinary world, which is a market we never anticipated. So it's really neat.
Yeah, coffee. Ooh, that would be sweet. Oh, I
Yeah,
didn't, bam, my mind's blown. But yeah, see, that's the thing too, where you go out and you think your target market is one thing, and then next thing you know, it's like a totally different industry that is, loving your product. And of course, as an entrepreneur, and you say as well, is you're going to run with it. You're going to run with it,
sure.
and you're going to go till it's like done. But again, it also speaks to your product when people are starting to send, you know, pictures and messages over, and how quickly and how it spreads like wildfire.
which is
And
which is incredible. It's an incredible feeling.
yeah, and and it's as a person, like, I'm doing something right, and it's reassuring that other people are loving it, and then also having the good intention of doing.
Totally.
And I think that's one of the biggest parts that people are missing. And again, it depends on
Yeah,
certain industries where they're just in it for the money. And if it works for them, it works for them. All good. But you can really tell who's in it because they love it. And
totally.
I can say that to you right now. I can tell that you really love it. And
Thanks.
that's why I think it's been blowing up. Right. So
Thank you so much. That's really, really kind of you to say, Riley. Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So another question that I always ask, and this is pretty much the mission statement of the podcast, is
Yeah,
connecting Canadian businesses together and just growing this community, especially in a time like this where everyone needs a little extra
for
plug.
sure.
And that's pretty much, yeah, like I said, this is pretty much why I started the podcast. So I know I'm just kind of throwing it on top of your head right now on the spot right now, but can you think of any smaller businesses that that you love, that you and your wife love, and you want to shout them out?
Yeah, absolutely. Too many, honestly. All of our retailers, like we have a lot of boutique retailers, and maybe I can speak to some in the area. Number one, Gretzky's has been a huge supporter of our company, and even though they're not small, um, they've they've been totally supportive of us, and it's been awesome to work for a company that wants to nurture your growth, um, which is super cool. And local businesses, the Grove, they were one of the first places to take us on. Limited Distillery, St. Catherine's Craft Arts Market. I know Niagara College has been an amazing supporter, and has wanted to work with us a lot, which is cool because Amy went to school there. Cocktail Emporium in Toronto, that was like our white whale. We were so excited to become part of that because that's for us is like the Hall of Fame. If you can get into the Cocktail Emporium, we were super pumped about that. And then all these other, you would have no idea, like Creekside Floral, um, they've taken us on now, and Centro in Burlington, another garden center, has taken us on, and Taw's Winery and Flat Rock Winery, all Dylan's Distillery. They were our first customer. It's incredible seeing like all these businesses just want to support and help you out and help you grow. And it's really beautiful to see all these businesses helping us, and I hope we're helping them too with our product. And Limited Distillery in Niagara on the Lake, they were like, they have, it's kind of cool. They started off as a record business, so they have these wicked camera equipment for taking pictures of all their albums.
Oh God.
It's crazy.
Oh dude.
When we were in need of photos, we were starting off and we were posting these kind of crooked pictures of syrups with, trying to hold it up against a white wall with a light and make it look
Yeah.
professional. They ended up sending us photos of our product all clean and cut out and professional. And they just said, we love your stuff. And, we're so excited to be with you guys and, carry your product, and here's some photos kind of pro bono. So it was really sweet of them to do that. So it's amazing seeing how everyone grows, and like 416 Coffee. If you're ever in Port Dalhousie,
Yeah.
it's like the best coffee, some of the best coffee I've ever had.
Really?
it's incredible. And they opened us up to the coffee market. They were like, we can use your syrups in all of our coffees. And they started off in Toronto, and they're an Italian coffee roastery that's just really really took our product places we didn't think it could go. So it was really, really cool to see that, and we're flattered by that too. So it's awesome. And I'm forgetting a few here. The list goes on, but
you know what? You know what I'll do? I'll send you. We'll put everything in the description down below. And I'll make sure I tag them, and I'll follow up with you later about that. But yeah, dude. Zach. Dude, this has been a great little conversation. Great drink, great syrup. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for supplying this for the podcast. Everything. All your socials and websites will be down below. But if I missed anything, this is your time to kind of plug you and your business.
Thank you. Hey, well, if you're seeing me right now, but my wife, like I said, she's the better half. Amy, you can give her a shout too on the website. But our website is www.kvas, K-V like victory, A-S, FBCO.com. You can check out all our products there. We've got all of our retailers located and listed, whether you're in Ottawa or Burlington or Niagara. And we've got more in Hamilton and kind of interdispersed, Studio 205 and Cherry Birch General in Hamilton, who've been great for us. And on Instagram at Kvas FBCO. And never be afraid to email us, shout at us, any questions you might have. Link us up. And I'm going to shout out to my buddy at Stir Crazy Cocktails. He's got some great cocktail photos, local guy. Give him a look too. So thanks a lot for the opportunity, Riley. This has been wicked.
Dude, awesome, man. Yeah, man. Thanks again. And everything that Zach said and the people that have been influenced, it will be down below. All right, guys. See you.
Thanks a lot, Riley. Ciao.
Thanks to Zach for coming on the 92 Social Podcast. It was a great conversation about quality ingredients, entrepreneurship, and it's honestly a great drink to have during the summer. So go on and check that out. If you find yourself at Gretzky's, say hey. He's a great guy to talk to, and all his social media and website and email and all the small businesses that he mentioned will be down below. And while you're doing that, make sure you check out mine. You can find the 92 Social Podcast on all the platforms that you listen to a podcast, as well as youtube.com/RileyMWelch. Make sure you smash that subscribe button. And I'm also on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. With that being said, guys, we'll see you next week. Take care.